Hello, and welcome to a special episode of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name's Sarah. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex and Moo. This is my crafty channel where I share all about my current works in progress. I make full-length, hour-long podcast-style videos twice a month where I share a lot of knitting and some of my finished sewing projects and some other miscellaneous crafty things. But today I'm here to talk to you all about my fall sewing plans for 2023. This is my third season making one of these videos since I started podcasting in January. So I'm not going to talk too much about the process, but I will say briefly, every season I make a set of sewing plans using a corkboard and a My Body Model croquis, which is a really cool thing to try if you've never heard of it. My Body Model, basically you put your measurements in and it makes a fashion figure in your size and proportions, so you can plan your sketches accordingly and they reflect your actual body, which is really cool. And I actually wrote a blog post for them all about my process, and I'll link to that down below if you're interested in reading more about the thoughts behind the plans in detail. But I basically make my batch of sewing plans 4 times a year, right when the season changes, whether that's the equinox or the solstice. I just find that I get really motivated when the seasons start to change, and that is a system that works for me to make my plans around that time of year. Let me actually grab my corkboard real quick so I can show it to you. Sorry to run away. So yeah, here is the corkboard that I put together. So you can see using my fashion figure that I make with My Body Model, I draw the sketches of the garments right on top of that. I use that as a stencil, or not a stencil, I use it to trace over to get the shapes right. I label them with the pattern name, and then if I have the fabric, which in this case I do have fabric for all of them, I cut a little swatch of the fabric and include it on the board. So what I'm going to be doing today is going through these plans and sharing with you what I'm really excited to be making for the fall season this year. Couple of other things to touch on fabric. So most of these fabrics this season are things I already had in my stash, which is pretty small. I've actually worked through almost all of it. But some of these are things that I maybe wanted to sew last year and didn't get to, or just scraps that I'm using in a new way. So most of them are things I already had. A lot of them are things that came to me secondhand, whether that was through fabric swap, thrifting, etc. And I think all in all, I only purchased 4 new cuts of fabric for some of these things that I've planned, but most of them are secondhand or things that I already had. And before we jump into the patterns, I did just want to also this time tell you my own personal measurements, so that if you are a similar size, hopefully it'll give you an idea of what kind of patterns might work for you, or you can come back and see the finished objects and see if you like that pattern for your style, your body shape, or not. So my bust measurement is 44 inches, my waist measurement is 40 inches, my hip measurement is 50 inches, and I am 5'5". So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into the patterns. And I'm gonna be going in order of smallest to largest. So I'm gonna start with accessories, work my way through tops, skirts, dresses, outerwear, and then end with a coat. So the first thing I want to make this season is something that I recently made for the first time. That is the Sandhill Sling by Noodlehead Designs. This is a really cool company. If you've never heard of them, they only design bag patterns, but they're all very, very nice and professional looking, and the finishes are very professional. I loved making this bag, and I am going to be making another one as a gift. And I just realized my fabric mounting here is in the way of the fabric. So I'm going to be making this out of some leftover scrap that I had. It is this really pretty cloud denim. It's a jacquard. The print is like woven in. This is a fairly lightweight denim. I previously made a jacket out of this and I have quite a bit left, so I'm going to be using this to make a sandhill sling for my sister for Christmas. She already knows she's getting it, so it's not a spoiler, but it's going to be really cute. I'm going to do a self fabric strap instead of the cotton webbing, and then it's going to have hot pink zippers and a hot pink linen lining, so that's going to be really cute and I'm excited to sew that up. This pattern does come in one size only. Okay, next one is another bag. So I loved making my sandhill sling so much, I decided that I wanted to try another noodle head bag. So I am going to be making the Making backpack. And that is, again, also a noodle head pattern. This one, however, comes in two sizes. So there's a large size, I'll put a picture in. There's a large size and a mini size, which is really cute. I'm going to be making the large size. And I'm going to be using scraps for this one as well. So I have quite a bit of this burgundy bowl denim from Blackbird Fabrics left over from a pair of pants that I made. And the color is blowing out a little bit. It's a bit darker than this in real life, but yeah, I have leftover cotton webbing and lining. I have everything. I did just need to order the strap hardware from Noodlehead, which if you are interested in trying their bag patterns, you can buy kits with all the hardware and everything on their website. So yeah, really excited to try this. And if I enjoy this one, I'll probably make a mini one next season. Okay, so that's it for accessories. Next is going to be a shirt. So let me grab my fabric. So for the past couple of seasons, I have had the Generous shirt dress on my plans. And this is a pattern by Daughter Judy. It is available up to a 60-inch bust and a 66-inch hip. And I had thought that I wanted to make the dress version of this as a layering piece, but the fabric that I got for it a few seasons ago, which is this white cotton Oxford shirting from Core Fabrics, it's kind of a piqué texture, is really nice, but it is a little bit too sheer, I think, for a dress. So it's been on my plans, it's been on my board for a couple of seasons, and I just kept not being inspired to make it. So that usually is a sign for me that it's time to mix it up with a plan. So I decided that I'm just gonna make the shirt version of this instead. And if I didn't already put a picture in, I will do that now. So it's this V-neck, notch neck, button down shirt, and it has a really cute split rounded hem. And I think the shirt will actually be better for layering for me under sweaters and sweater vests. To just have that little rounded hem peeking out the bottom, I think will be really cute. So I'm hoping that I can get around to making that one this season. Next is gonna be a matching set that I wanna make. This fabric is chunky. So a new skirt pattern recently came out that I love, and it is the Henrietta skirt by Spaghetti Western Sewing. Here's a picture. It is up to a 72-inch waist, and it's just really cute. It's gathered at the waist, but then it has these, it has princess seams on the skirt basically, and then the side panels are gathered, and it's got this really cool hip detail. So I knew I wanted to make this skirt, and I was looking through what I had in stash, and what I have is this cool secondhand fabric that I got at a swap. I think it is a cotton blend, but it's mostly gray, and then it has little stripes of black and little stripes of metallic copper. So I'm gonna use this for my Henrietta skirt, and I'm really excited. And I did want to say one thing about this pattern and Spaghetti Western Sewing patterns in general. This is I think Sadie, the designer, has only started designing in the past year, really. And I just want to give her a huge shout out for the way that she is doing her size range. So if you make any of her patterns, definitely make sure that you are referring to the measurements, not the size that you normally make, because she has done the awesome thing of making her size medium a true average US women's size, which the average US woman is a size 16, 18, which is my size. So I, in her patterns, am a size medium. And then everything is graded down or up from there. So the pattern goes from like 3XS, like 3 extra small, up to like 5XL. And it's just an amazing pattern size range. And I'm so happy to see her centering like the average sized person as the size medium and then grading from there. So big kudos to her for doing that and implementing that new kind of system. So I will be making the skirt out of this, and I have a ton of this, so I thought I would make a matching top as well. And I decided that I'm going to make the cuff top by the assembly line. I will put a picture in. Again, I've not made any patterns by the assembly line yet, but I have 2 of them on my list today, and a lot of them are really interesting. This is a fairly simple boat neck style top with a center front seam, but it has this really wide elasticated gathered cuff, which I just think is a really nice detail. And I think it'll match back really well with the same detail on the Henrietta skirt and the gathering on the skirt. So if I want to wear them as a matching set, I can, but I think they'll both work really well as separates as well. So I'll be making the top also in this fabric. I'm just gonna start a big fabric pile on the floor here. Okay, another skirt that I want to make is going to be self-drafted. I will put a picture of the inspiration in. This is just a ready-to-wear skirt that I have had saved in my phone for a while, and I love the idea of a patchwork skirt. I love patchwork garments, and what I particularly love about this style is that the patchwork on the skirt is, on the main part of the skirt, is on grain, but on the ruffle at the bottom, it's on the bias, and I think that's just a really interesting detail. So I went diving through my scraps and I found these. So I have some navy linen scraps and some cerulean blue linen scraps, and I am gonna patchwork these together to make something like that skirt. So, you know, that's just gonna be size to measure for myself. Not too much information to share about a pattern or anything, but I am really excited for that style. Excuse me, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. Okay, last skirt. Ooh, that fabric is noisy. So I purchased this faux leather. This is black faux leather from Blackbird Fabrics last year. I think it was last fall. And I think I purchased it with the intention of making like a leather jacket kind of style. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought I would be more likely to wear this as a skirt. Because it's not as thick as I thought that it would be. When I got it in, it's quite, like, you can see how thin and drapey it is. And I just thought it wouldn't have the body to be used in a jacket like I was anticipating, and had quite a bit of it. So what I think I'm actually gonna do is draft a circle skirt. There's a lot of tutorials online for how to do this. I will link below a blog post that kind of walks you through all the possible different variations of a circle skirt, some of which I had never even seen before, so that's pretty interesting. I think I'm gonna draft a 3/4 circle skirt, so not quite a super full, like 100% donut kind of circle skirt, but a slightly less full than that. And I'm considering doing like a flat waistband on the front and a gathered back instead of putting in a zipper, just because I'm less likely to wear a skirt if it has a zipper. I just know that about myself. So yeah, I'm gonna be using this to make a cool leather skirt. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to have this in the wardrobe. I might have enough to make some kind of matching top, which I'm not exactly sure what that would be, but some kind of little like bustier or something could be cute to wear under a jacket. So we'll see how much I have left over, but that's another one I'm just going to be drafting to my own measurements. But, you know, like I said, if you're interested in doing the same thing, I'll link a post below, but there's also many like YouTube tutorials if you just look up like how to draft a circle skirt. Excuse me. Okay, moving into dresses. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Moving into dresses, so here's where I got some fun new fabrics for the season. So the first one I want to make is a dress hack of the patina shirt, which I'll put a picture of the shirt in here. I've made the shirt before. I've actually made a dress version before as well, but it didn't fit quite the way I wanted. So I'm gonna take another stab at this with a drapier fabric that's less clingy. My first dress I made out of like an old cotton bed sheet, and it just wasn't what I was going for. So I went to my local fabric store, so to speak, and picked up this really fun tiger print or zebra print viscose, and it has a dot woven in, so hopefully you can see that texture. It's super nice and drapey, and I love this like burnt sienna kind of dark orangey background with the navy stripes with the little pops of cobalt. I just think this is going to be very fun as a dress. These are some of my favorite colors, and I'm really excited to work on this one. I'm also thinking I might add like a little waist tie to this version of the dress. I think that would be cute. This pattern is by Friday Pattern Co. If I didn't already say that. It's available up to a 60-inch bust, and that fabric is by Fabric Godmother, and it's called Like a Zebra Viscose Jacquard. Okay, another shirt to dress hack that I want to try this season is the Anthea top by Anna Allen Clothing. Here's a picture of the top. This is one I've made twice, and it's one of my favorite tops. I just love how it fits. I love the poofy sleeves. So I really want to make a dress version of this that's just like super cozy and relaxed with the poofy sleeves. I just love it. One change I might make is I might lower the neckline a bit. Instead of having this high neckline, I might bring it down a little bit more into like a U shape. And I did also purchase fabric for this at So to Speak. I got this gray striped linen. This is Robert Kaufman's Essex Yarn Dyed Classic Wovens, and the color is Licorice Stripe. And this pattern is available up to a 48-inch bust. You can see there's like a little bit of texture in the stripes as well. So I think that's going to be something really nice that I could wear all year. And it's kind of a blue gray. It's not like super, you know, it's looking a little yellow on the camera because of my lighting today, but it is a nice like cool gray. Okay. I have a lot of like hacks this season. So wherever I know that I'm going to base that off of an existing pattern, I'm going to tell you the existing pattern and how I'm going to alter it. But a lot of these are kind of things I'm going to have to be making up as I go. So the next one was also inspired by a ready-to-wear garment. I'll put a little picture of it in here. And it looks like this dress that has a button placket on just the bodice and then a full gathered skirt. It has set in semi-fitted sleeves, and what I really liked about it is that it has this really cute pointy little Peter Pan collar. So the base that I'm going to use to kind of make something similar is the Hinterland dress by So Liberated. I'll put a picture of that here. It is available up to a 52.5-inch bust. And I did order fabric for this as well. I knew I wanted a similar color. So Matchy Matchy Sewing Club, who actually I'm wearing one of their patterns today. This is the Collage Gather top. They also sell linen and fabrics, and they were having a sale on this cobalt linen, so I did purchase some. Mine is a little bit lighter than the inspiration image, but I think this is a really good color for me. It's very trendy color right now, and I really like it a lot. So yeah, I'm going to use the Hinterland dress as a base. And I think the only real change I'm going to have to make to this is actually raising the neckline a bit. Unlike my Anthea dress, where I'm lowering the neckline here, I'm going to be reshaping the neckline to be a little higher and a little wider, and then drafting that collar. And otherwise, I think it should be a pretty straightforward Hinterland dress. And I'm excited. I'm very excited about that one. Okay, next one's another dress hack. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna use the Ashton top by Helen's Closet as a starting point to make something like this. This is a designer style. You saw this is a runway image. but I love this dress with the big bow and the asymmetry. I just love it. So the bodice to me looks very similar to the Ashton top by Helen's Closet, which I will put a picture of that down here. It's a pretty simple, fairly loose fitting tank top, but it has really nice finishing on it. It's a pattern I've made many times. So I'm gonna use that for the bodice. I will then just draft a gathered skirt to sew on to the bottom. It does have 2 tiers on the skirt, so there's a more narrow tier and then a wider tier at the bottom. And then I will just draft a big long rectangle and cut 2, finish all the edges, and that's gonna be the bow. And I kind of like the idea of having the bow be removable, so something I could have on there if I want, but I do not have to have it on there. So we'll see if I can come up with a solution for that. Otherwise I'll just sew it on and go from there. But yeah, I love this style, and the fabric I'm going to be using is this really fun, wow, I just forgot the word for plaid. It's plaid. So I got this secondhand. There's quite a bit of it. And I love that the original style was in plaid, and I just thought this would be perfect. So I'm going to be making it out of this like burgundy and light blue plaid, and I think that's going to be very fun. I love a big bow. If there's one thing about me, I have always loved giant bows on everything. And you can't always get away with a giant bow on everything, so where you can, I say go for it. Okay, next one is another hack, but this is a hack coming from the designer. So recently I've been talking a lot about my love for the Zadie jumpsuit pattern by Paper Theory. This is, yep, okay, sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. This is available up to a 56-inch bust and a 58-inch hip. And they are releasing a dress hack version of the pattern. So there's going to be, if you already own the Zadie jumpsuit pattern, they're going to be releasing a free update that includes pieces for this for the dress version instead. And I love my Zadies so much. The wrap fits me perfectly, and I feel like I would wear a dress version even more than I would wear the jumpsuits. And that's saying something because I really like the jumpsuits. So when I was at So to Speak, I picked up fabric to make a navy version of the wrap dress. This is the Robert Kaufman Essex Speckle yarn dyed linen in navy. So hopefully you can see the color, there we go. The colors are blowing out a little bit today, but there's all these these are actually like little rainbow colored speckles in here. I don't know, there, maybe you can see there's some colors. Yeah, sorry, my lighting is not ideal today. It's definitely subtle, but if you look closely, there's like blue, yellow, green, red, all kinds of little colors in there. So it just adds like a little bit more interest than a solid navy, but I think that is gonna be such a great piece. Paper Theory have not put out, they've posted on their blog the directions for the dress hack, but they've not yet released the pattern update. So I'm just waiting patiently for that, but I think it's coming really soon, like maybe this week. Okay, and last I have 3 outerwear pieces that I'm planning to make this year. And the first one is gonna be really fun. I love a scrappy project, and this is gonna be a scrappy wool jacket. So I guess it was in the spring, a friend of mine was out on the West Coast in Washington, I believe, and went to the Pendleton factory outlet, I'm not sure, but where they make the Pendleton wool blankets and all the Pendleton wool things, they have an outlet, and in the warehouse part of it, they just had these like massive bins full of scraps of the blankets, and you could it was like by the pound, it was like $5 a pound or something. And she sent me a video and was like, do you want any of these? And she helped me pick out some of the scraps. They kind of went together. So I have these really cool Pendleton blanket wool scraps that I paid like $15 for total. Excuse me. And I'm gonna like combine them into this patchworky mismatched jacket. So let me show you the wools first, and then I'll tell you about the pattern. So the first one and the biggest piece is this, and it is just this beautiful like taupey brown with this like lighter tannish yellow, red, darker brown, light blue running throughout, and I have quite a bit of this. The second biggest piece is this one. And this is that same brown that's the base of the first piece, but this is navy and this is cream, and it has these wider stripes running through. And then lastly, I have this smaller piece of blue with cream and yellow and red running through. So you can see they don't match exactly, but they are pretty friendly with each other. And I am planning to make a midway jacket with these. I will put a picture in. This will be my third time making the midway jacket, and on the second version, which was actually what I made with that cloud denim that I showed you earlier, I think I got the fit just right, and I've been wearing that a lot and I love it. So this is a pattern by Les Perlines. It's up to a 55-inch bust and a 60-inch hip. And this pattern has a lot of positive ease. So the first version I made was way too big. So I would definitely just keep that in mind if you're interested in the pattern. I did size down a full size for my second version, and it's just the right amount of oversize versus being really, really big. So yeah, I'm gonna make that with this. And that pattern has seams here for the front and back yoke. And then it also has set-in sleeves, and it has these big patch pockets on the front. So my tentative thought is to use this for the top yokes and the sleeves and the collar. And then for the bottom of the jacket, to use these wider pieces of the wool, either a vertical stripe, which might be cool, or horizontal stripe. So that would be on the bottom, front, and back. And then for the pockets, I thought I could use these colorful stripes in a fun way. So I'm really excited to play around with that and kind of design how it's all going to be laid out and everything. Projects like that and like the patchwork skirt kind of project, they just really get my like creative energy flowing. You know, it's just something new to try. Like when you've been sewing, I've been sewing most of my life and almost all of my own clothes in the past couple of years, and I do tend to make the same things over and over again. Like I've made the Nini culottes and the Maeve skirt like 100 times, and you will notice there's no Nini culottes and no Maeve skirts this time. I'm trying to expand my horizons a bit. Also, I just have enough of them now. So next one, the last two are coats. So going into the cooler season, it's always a good time to start thinking about your outerwear, especially since these can be bigger projects that take a longer time to work through. And it really starts getting cold here sometimes in November, but really December, January, February are when it's really, really cold here and you really need those coats. So I made a Nova coat a couple of years ago, and I've been wearing it to death. I've been wearing it almost every day in the winter for the past 2 years. So I really do need to add a couple more heavier coats into the rotation just to give that one a bit of a break. So the next one, which to me, I think I definitely could wear in winter, but this feels a little bit more like a fall, early winter kind of coat, is the V-neck coat by the Assembly line. So here's a picture of the pattern. Again, this is by the Assembly line, which I have not tried yet, but I am very excited about all of their patterns. It is available up to a 61-inch bust. And I'm going to be making it out of this really nice brown wool coating that I got secondhand at a fabric swap. It's not super, super heavy, so I think it will be nice for this coat because it still has quite a bit of drape. And I'm going to be fully lining it with this light blue lining that I also got secondhand. I got this from Make and Mend, which is an online secondhand craft supply store. So yeah, I'm going to be putting the blue lining in the brown coat, and I think that'll be really nice. And I just think this coat fits really well. I probably will make a muslin for this just to make sure I'm cutting the right size and everything, but I think that'll be a good like transitional outer layer. And lastly, is the poppy coat. This is a pattern by the fabric store. Here's a picture of it. It's this super oversized wool coat. I sized it down like 3 sizes, I think, because I want it to be oversized, but I don't want to look like I'm drowning in it. You know, I still want to be able to wear a sweater under it comfortably, but I don't want to be like, like swimming in it. So I did make a muslin for this, and actually I was planning to make this last winter. So you hear me saying I did because I did 9 months ago make a muslin for it. And I actually already cut out all of the pieces. It's all interfaced. Everything is prepped and ready to go. It just needs to be sewn together. So here is the fabric that I'm using. It is a double-faced wool coating from Blackbird Fabrics from last winter, their coating collection. It is dead stock, so that's cool. They do a lot of dead stock collections. So, and if you're not familiar with dead stock, that is just when designers have extra fabric or fashion lines have extra fabric, they will sometimes sell that to fabric stores like Blackbird Fabrics to then sell to their customers. So it's not being wasted or going in the landfill. So that's really great and something you can always look for if you're interested in secondhand materials. So the front has this really pretty plaid. It's gray with black and these little blue stripes, which I love. And then the back of it is actually just a solid wool. I would say it's like a melt-in. It's almost like a felted quality, and it is very, very thick. This is going to be extremely warm. It's also going to be fully lined with black lining. And yeah, I'm really excited to just sew on this. Sorry, my phone's going off. It's all ready to go. So I will still probably wait till a little bit later in the season to work on it, just because it's not going to be cold enough to wear something like this until at least December, if not January. But it is all ready to go. So that is it. Those are my fall sewing plans for this year. Please let me know below if you liked if you like these patterns, if any of them were new to you, and something you're planning to make in the coming season, or just thoughts on planning in general. I'd love to hear what you think. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Like I said, I publish at least twice a month. I publish regular podcast episodes, and that is where you would see these as finished objects if you're interested in that. You can also follow me on Instagram at Sarah_Seams or on Ravelry at Sarah Ribble if you're interested in the knitting projects. And I will try to post the finished sewing projects there as well. I'm definitely better about sharing them on YouTube than I am on Instagram. Instagram tends to lean a little bit more towards the knitting, but hopefully you're interested in all the crafty goodness. So I will see you next time, and I hope you have lots of sewing in your future. Bye.